Pipes. Supposed to meet up with her.
I got my Chiefs jersey on, and
Yeah, I saving for Sunday.
yeah, well, we watched the games in
Yeah,
Barcelona.
I want to root for winners, not a bunch of losers like the Dolphins.
Yeah,
Can you still hear me when I'm
yeah.
talking?
All right, all right, guys, welcome back. We're here with another episode. This one's a little bit delayed. We missed last week because I was traveling and couldn't quite make it to do the podcast. So I appreciate all you hitting us back on our third week here. And we're going to be talking about a little something that actually is very timely. Just due to me getting off of a 9-hour plane ride yesterday, Johnny being down in Playa del Carmen. We're going to be talking today a little bit about why traveling is important. I would say for anyone, but I think most of our listeners are men. So why traveling is important for men in their lives, not just after a breakup. You know, a lot of guys, they choose to buy that one-way ticket once they've been in a breakup or a divorce and things like that, and they're kind of forced into just leaving their environment. But you know, as you and I know, Johnny, that it's very important to get out and explore the world regardless, because it just makes you a better human. What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely agree. I think I've talked to a lot of guys who are going through divorce, and you just sit at home thinking about what's going on, what's wrong. Whereas what I felt like traveling is one of the best things you can do to not only take your mind off of what's happening, but it's also going to develop you as a person. Like,
Hmm.
doesn't matter where you travel. Obviously, I would suggest international travel, like just
Hmm.
leave your home country.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, international travel is so important because and by the way, I just recognized, I don't know how this session is going to record, but for you listeners, I just made a change to the screen, so maybe I was a bit small. I don't know how it's going to do it, but in case there's a change, that's what happened. We're still getting used to this recording software, but all good. Yeah, I mean, international travel, I would say, you know, it is so important because learning about cultures, like learning different, I mean, go as far as different languages. You know, for me, even I did a year in Montreal after a breakup last year. You know, there was other reasons why I went there, but just you know, it's not enough just to go to a different state. You know, right next to yours, you're going to see the same people, you're going to get into the same habits, and you know, the further you are away from your environment, the more I think you're going to come out of your shell. And I think that's very important. That's what the thing is, right? One second, John. I think your mic's off there. There you go.
Um, all right, yeah, it was mute me randomly. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, yeah, you're good to go.
Okay. Well, also when you grow up in your country, so like I grew up in the U.S. and the girls that I was always around were from the U.S. So when you
Hmm.
travel internationally or somewhere where you can meet foreign women, you can actually kind of see what girls you're actually attracted to. Like maybe you're
Hmm.
not attracted to all American women. Maybe you want to meet Latin American or Eastern European or whatever.
Hmm.
So getting out exposes you to different kinds of people. And
Hmm.
the language, I mean, it is interesting to different cultures, different languages, all that stuff.
Yeah, and I think, you know, I was going to wait until the towards the end of the podcast to kind of get on my soapbox a little bit, but you know, I've been to a lot of different countries, and I think, you know, when I was married, we went to Europe probably every year for a couple of years, or for a few years there. We did Italy, we did France, we did Belgium, we did Spain, we did Portugal. Yeah, we got around to quite a few places, and I think when you do that with your spouse, you know, there's not a whole lot of like reasons to get out and meet people, right? Because you're basically just tourists. You're kind of walking around. You're seeing the Eiffel Tower. You're seeing the Sagrada in Spain. You're hanging on the beach in Nice. You're doing their usual stuff that couples would do, going to dinner, you know, having romantic stuff, seeing the sights. But I think there is a completely other, different element if you are a single man, whether you're going to travel these places solo, going with a good friend of yours. It's a way different experience because as a guy, especially if you're single, you can go out, you can meet people. And, you know, I did that in Paris last year. I was with a good friend of mine. We were able to go out and just experience it as a local, and you run into different people, you run into women, And I did the exact same thing last week in Barcelona, where we went out, we saw locals. Our last podcast, episode 2, was on cold approach in apps, and I have a couple of experiences. Maybe we'll get into that a little bit later in the discussion today. But it's so important. It's such a different mindset when you're there solo. Whether it's solo or with a friend. If you're not with a girl, that's like the growing experience. Not to talk about people who go traveling with their significant other, but if you're a single guy and you want to explore how women are outside of the situation you're in or outside wherever you are, then you go international to a different culture.
Yeah, I don't have a lot of experience traveling.
Mm-hmm.
Me and my ex never left the country, didn't travel much at all.
Mm-hmm.
But now when I travel, it's specifically to see what cities have the most attractive women that I would want to date. Like I'm going specifically to like Spain. I went to Spain, Barcelona to
Mm-hmm.
specifically see how is cold approach, how is the online dating, how are the
Mm-hmm.
women there. That's why I
Yeah.
moved to Mexico. That's why I want to go to Buenos Aires in December, like to go
Mm-hmm.
see what the girls are like, what the environments are like. Traveling with a significant other, yeah, you're not having to. I mean, you're always with that person basically. Like you're not
Mm-hmm.
really. I wouldn't say you're getting as ingrained into the culture as you could. Where if you have, like, if
Yeah.
you're by yourself or with a buddy, like you're trying to figure this shit out together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, you're going to bars, you're going to different spots. Like we were just ducking into, some of these little spots in the Gothic Quarter. We had a couple of our unique spots where we would go hang out at the bar, and that's where you would have an opportunity to approach, just
Yeah,
women that are sitting there. I mean, it's not for the purpose of, dating and picking up, right? I mean, like obviously if you gel and you like the person you're talking to and it kind of gets to that point, fine. But like you don't need to approach it that way. You don't need to be the needy guy that's sitting there that's like, who wants to go home with me, love me. And it's like you send that weird energy, and obviously people are going to look at you like this guy that's just there as a tourist. Which, by the way, I think this, right? They like a lot of cities now, especially in Europe, if they look at you like a tourist, especially a guy that's coming over just to pick women up, they will not even look at you for a second. Did you notice that at all?
uh,
What was your experience there?
no, I don't notice that. I go to when I go
Mm-hmm.
to places like I go say a bar or whatever. Like I'm going to give people value and just have a good time.
Mm-hmm. No, I
So
mean it's not
I,
from a negative
I don't.
standpoint, but if you talk to them about it, they will ask you, "Are you from here? Are you living here? Or are you just passing through?" Because I think they're so used to that, and the ones that are looking to date, maybe not if you meet them, in a bar somewhere, because obviously it's a much different
Yeah,
thing. But if you're on the apps, then they're definitely going to want to know, "Hey, are you just on the app to pick up women, or are you on the app because you're here?"
yeah. I
You
mean,
know
a
what I
lot of girls on apps are specifically looking to
mean?
date. I think. Which is
Yeah.
why I like the cold approach aspect where you're just going
Mhm.
out and they'll ask you a lot of times if you're living there or not, but
Mhm. Yeah, but
I find
oftentimes, like you said, if you're giving value and you're fun, to hang out with, you good conversation, there's no reason to sort of bring that up so soon. If you
yeah.
get into it, you kind of go on a couple of dates or whatever, then you can bring it up. But like, yeah.
One thing I also found too is if they ask you, do you live here? You're like, oh, I come back here a lot. I visit a lot, or I plan to come back here a lot.
Mhm.
Like if you actually like the area and stuff like that,
Yeah.
like that's not a deal breaker.
Hmm.
Online dating, I mean, some of these girls have been on plenty of dates and they don't want to keep dating, so they are looking for somebody specifically.
Hmm.
They might not want to waste time with somebody who's just visiting, but
Yeah, and I get it as well, but I think for a lot of guys, you just like, you know, at least for me, I just like going out on dates with beautiful women, right? If I can go to a cocktail bar and I can go on a date with a beautiful woman, I don't mind. Like that's just the what I enjoy doing. Would I rather sit there? Obviously, my friend and I had a couple of good nights where we were just chatting, but sometimes you just want a woman to pick up the conversation, learn about somebody new. So like
I mean,
there
yeah,
is,
as a guy, I would always go on the date if she's open to it. Like
yeah,
girls will say that they are looking for something, but girls also want to have fun. Like
yeah,
they're just telling
exactly,
themselves like, "Oh, he's not living here," blah blah. But
yeah.
not.
Yeah. So let's
It's
get
not.
into the app. I have a kind of a funny story for you. Now, I'm not sure if it resonated with you. So like I have the Hinge app open, and I mentioned I had a couple of dates down in Playa del Carmen when I was there, just to kind of again, like I like going out, meeting beautiful women, especially if I'm there alone. Then it's like I don't know what they're up to, but if they want to go out have a drink, I'm open to a fun evening, regardless of where it goes. So that's kind of where my mindset was. And when I was in Spain, I just had the app open and I just thought, hey, maybe let's check out who is here as far as the women is concerned. And for the most part, I saw a lot of Russian, Ukrainian, a lot of Colombian, more than I did Spain, because I think it's such an international city that there's so many different cultures there. But a lot of the women are actually from these parts of the world. There's a lot of those that influence, and I was so pleasantly surprised with the ones that I ran into, the ones that I matched with, and I matched with about 30 women the first like 2 days, and I was kind of surprised because it's you don't get that sort of result typically in Vancouver. It's more of like
Yeah.
I don't think many people are actually on it here anymore. But it made me feel like okay, there are intentional women here, and a lot of them were very intentional the way that I was chatting with them, and it just gave me a good impression that there are still a lot of women that are very intentional, and I don't know if that's something that's leaving the West. But the funny story that I had for you, and I'll let you respond to it once I'm done. But the funny story that I ran into is so I was wanting to take a couple of women out for drinks, and I had my friend there, so I said, "Why don't we do a double date? I have a friend here. Bring a friend. We'll do a double date. It'll be a lot of fun. We're going to go to the W, which for those of you who haven't been to Barcelona, W is the best hotel there. It's the flagship W hotel, and it's got an amazing lobby bar. Uh, so we had this great spot in mind. We had a great cocktail place, and but a lot of the women will basically say, "I'm not going out unless I get a full dinner at a very classy spot."
Oh wow.
Some would even say on a sailboat. Some even had other expectations as far as like where they would go. Like I'm not even kidding. So it's
I
like
would.
they'll be intentional, but they'll have these crazy expectations that you don't see in the West. But in the West, they're just wishy washy, have no idea what they're doing. Whereas at least over there, you can kind of say, well, here's the expectation, here's what I want. You know, if you want to still do it, then that's your choice, but it's completely upfront.
I would say, I mean, Barcelona is one of those cities that they do have a harbor where people do have yachts. They
Mm-hmm.
have a lot of girls are used to probably be getting offers to do that all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just their standard. Whereas in like the US, like Minneapolis specifically,
Mm-hmm.
or like Austin, Texas, like it's not as common to people are inviting them out on yachts and fancy dinners and
Yeah. But that's like I guess that's the reason why if you're in certain surroundings and you're getting certain results, then look at your surroundings, right? Like again, you can go to Barcelona, you can have an amazing experience, and I did as well. Like I left that place like extremely sad that I was leaving because I
so
was
what do you
like,
do with those girls that mention that they want to do dinners and yachts?
I wouldn't be into the yacht one because I don't want a yacht. But for the dinner, that would usually be my go-to, anyways. I'm scaling off that a little bit. I think we chatted about it a couple of times where I think it's
I
better
don't
off to just go
do
for
dinner
a drink.
dates. Yeah.
Sorry.
I don't do dinner dates. I meet for drinks, but yeah, I don't do dinner dates.
I would if the circumstances were right. So if I saw the girl and she had the things that I really wanted, and I said, if that's the only way that I'm going to get this one out, and if she's used to that, sometimes the guy just needs to go for dinner and not show off, but like show up, I guess, like put effort in. So if they're expecting you, some cultures, I would say Eastern European, they're not just going to go out for a drink. So if you ever want to date an Eastern European woman, you better you know act the way that they want you to at the very beginning within your frame. Always be
I would disagree with that
the
though.
guy.
I mean, I've had plenty of experience with Eastern European women that
Mhm.
I still went out to drinks with.
Really, I think
Yeah.
that's just been my view of it because I think there's some that maybe would not expect that, but um, maybe it's my assessment is off on that one. It's been my experience, but I think there are some of them that you would need to, as a guy, and choose this wisely. Choose this advice. I wouldn't even call it advice, but I would just say, sometimes it's not a bad thing to put more effort in than not. I think some guys that are out there, and like I think girls kind of see through this a little bit, and you do get this when you travel, where they will see the manosphere if you show it too much, and it's great for a man to know all these things. but women do not want to hear about it. So if you're like, you know what, I don't go for drinks because I want to make sure that you're worth my time, like it does sound very, um, I don't know, not arrogant, but it's like you're just repeating what you've heard on YouTube. And I think so.
Yeah,
Sometimes
I
be
just don't
open.
like the dinner date because then you're like half the time you're eating, not even
Mhm,
sitting next to each other.
mhm.
If it doesn't work out, then you're sitting next to this person for like an hour.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
just not my vibe.
that's exactly true. I think the knock on dinner dates, I would say, and I've been on some good with some bad. So the knock on dinner dates, I think, would be regardless of where you are in the world, the knock on dinner dates is that you're spending way too much. You're spending way too much time. You're potentially spending $400 or $500 on a date, and the girl may not even call you
Where
back.
are you going for dinner?
Well, sometimes in Montreal, you go to a steakhouse or like any nice spot, $20 glasses of wine,
Yeah,
fifty
see, I'm not
dollars
doing
steaks.
I'm not doing that unless I know I like this girl. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't mind the idea of meeting for drinks, and then if it goes well, going to get something to
Mhm.
eat. But yeah, like spending I don't $400 or $500 for me, like spending $405 for a girl that I'm not even gonna date. Like I don't want
Mhm.
to do that.
Yeah, no, I would tread lightly there. I wouldn't say do that as a default, but I just had that experience of saying, you know what, these women were very. I can see that you're not going to get through the door unless you do that. So it's your choice whether you want to do or not.
What makes you
But
you're
you
not gonna
just
get through the door unless you do that?
for some of these women, right? They will literally tell you, like, I'm not going to meet with you unless you have dinner, and like they're used to having this situation. So
Are
you
they
can
working?
choose to just
Like,
not do it, but
yeah.
you're probably not going to get the date. So like if you want to go out, and that's the funny experience. So like I don't have a suggestion on what you should do because you have to live within your means. You can't just go out and
Yeah, I mean, if
fancy.
that's what you want to
That's
do to get to the date, then yeah, that's up to you.
Yeah. So if you have money to go on a date and you have the time and you want to put a lot of effort in, a lot of people in the red pill will just say, "Hey, I got tons of stuff to do," but that's more of like a game, right? So all I'm saying is, if you have the time,
Yeah,
have the money.
yeah. I don't know that you have to play. I mean, just me personally, I would just you build abundance so that if that happens, you're like, okay, well, I'll find somebody else. But
Yeah, and regardless of what you end up doing, I think it's just in my mind that was the funny thing because I'd never in back in the West in Canada. It was fine. Like a drink would have been fine, or a walk in the park. Some women are just they like more casual date. They will say that, and they will look past it, and they'll say, "Okay, I'm happy with a casual date if this guy's driving a Porsche because I know that he could take me on a fancy date." So it's like
that's what they say in the West.
I would say in Canada and in the States, you can see I've been dated much in the States, obviously, but you can see it being very much so easygoing. A
What do
lot
you
more
mean
than
though? Like only if you have a Porsche, though. What do you mean by that?
oh no, I was saying that in jest, where I was like, I believe that there are a lot of women that are happy with going out on a more casual date. Say if you go to like I don't know, go get ice cream, go for a walk. They're fine with that if you still have, they can see that you still have a good lifestyle, good money, that you're just saying it because you're like, hey, I can take you for dinner if I want to, but we're just going to go for ice cream or coffee because I don't have a lot of time. But if you're just, I can't afford to go to a nice dinner place, then it kind of loses that casualness or that like romantic.
Yeah, I wouldn't say you can't afford to do it. It's more just like you. Me personally, I'm not taking girls out to dinner that I'm not dating.
Mhm,
I think the walk and the coffee is also like low effort, so I don't like to do those either.
mhm,
And when I go on dates, like I don't even drink. Like I just offer to go out to drinks with them, and then you go see a show, or like you just kind of go on a little mini adventure. But
mhm,
I'm, I mean, I haven't had that experience where girls are expecting dinners. I
mhm.
don't like that's not something I'm looking to do. I
Yeah,
meet first for drinks. If we hit it off and then want to spend more time together, sure, let's go get a bite to eat. But
yeah,
I'm not seating dinner dates as a open. I think a lot of I guess it's hit or miss, but I've heard from a lot of girls that they don't want to do dinner dates because they
mhm,
don't know if this guy's cool or not. They don't want to be stuck at a dinner with
mhm.
somebody that they don't know.
Yeah. I guess it's all situational. I think I've had that used to be my default. I would say more often than not I wouldn't, but I would still be open to it for the right one. Where it's like, especially if I'm traveling, and again going back to the whole travel thing, it's like I think in say in Vancouver, if I'm going on a date a week, or if I'm intentionally dating and I have a few lined up, I'll probably want to get through them not quickly, but I'll probably want to like do what you just said is like, go for a drink or whatever, go to maybe even tapas, maybe even a small bite to eat, whatever it is, something that's only going to take an hour and you can always extend it. And that's probably the best play that I would recommend to somebody to do. Just go something casual, whatever you want to do, and then have a time limit on it. Say, hey, I may have something to do afterwards. And then if you guys do gel, then you can always extend it. But when you're traveling, I think that's where I would break my own rules a little bit when I'm traveling, just because it's like I want to get out there as well. And I felt that I would have, but I didn't want to leave my friend, and I didn't. There's other reasons, but there were a couple of women that were out there, and I think they're very beautiful women. I don't know if what your experience in Barcelona was, but it was just like everywhere you look,
Oh
everywhere
yeah.
you look.
Yeah, Barcelona is great for online dating. I met a couple
Hmm.
Ukrainian girls, Romanian,
Hmm.
Russian, and then like there's always foot traffic, so you can easily go and approach
Hmm.
10
Wherever you
girls
go.
in an hour and a half. It's like, oh, there's a
Hmm.
cute girl, we'll go approach her. And you don't even think about it.
Hmm.
The problem with like Playa now, I mean, I wouldn't say a problem, but like I can do a couple approaches. I do one a day.
Hmm.
Sometimes it's hard to find that one because there's
Hmm.
not a ton of foot traffic. And then you're also being seen doing it. So it's like, oh, fuck, I don't want to do 10
Yeah,
approaches a day.
yeah.
Or
There's
somewhere
one
like
road, right?
Barcelona or London, like you can go and talk
Hmm.
to however many people.
Yeah, I guess the good thing about Playa is that there's always tourists. There's always different people walking up and down the street. So while maybe some people are going to see you, it's like
Yeah.
eventually.
Also, yeah, my focus isn't to go do 2 hours of
Mhm,
approaching. One a day is fine. Just build up your skill set. Date
mhm,
girls. I got a girl that I'm gonna go meet after this. Met her on the street. Doesn't speak any English. From
mhm.
Argentina. So it's like,
That's going to be an interesting one.
yeah, I saw her Sunday. Went for a drink. But yeah, like just traveling gets you this experience. Like I would never have approached a girl who doesn't speak English and we talk through a translator and we still hit it off and flirt. Like I
Mhm.
would never have done this in Wisconsin or Minneapolis or
Yeah. Now,
Texas.
what are your thoughts on the passport bro thing? So I think that's the two conflicting narratives when it comes to travel for men, like especially post breakup. Sometimes they will go to passport bro territory where they're like, I do
Yeah.
not want anything to do with these Western women. They will go to like Thailand, they'll go like wherever it is, Romania,
I
expecting
was
things to be different.
yeah, I was gonna make a video about this actually because I was looking
Mhm,
up what is day game like in Buenos Aires.
mhm,
And I saw a video of a guy. I'm gonna make a reaction video to it, I think. But he was
mhm,
saying that Buenos Aires sucks for dating, and then he was saying all the reasons why, and then he was
mhm,
saying that all the American women are feminine and all the Western women are trash too. And then I'm
mhm,
just thinking like, no, all American women are not feminists. They're not all masculine. Like maybe you're just not attracting the right girls in the U.S. Like there's
mhm,
plenty of girls that are feminine and stuff.
mhm,
Me personally, I find Eastern European women just more attractive, and same with Latinas. Like
mhm.
that's my preference. But to say that all women are masculine and this and that, and then he's
It's
saying,
it's a huge generalization that I
yeah,
I know is out.
generalizing everything. Yeah, Buenos Aires dating sucks because of this. This. It's like, well, maybe you just had bad luck in Buenos Aires.
Mhm,
I think a lot of these guys are looking for. Tom Torero used to call it pussy paradise, where
mhm.
I can leave my home country and then I don't have to learn to be a man or have any skill set, and girls are just gonna
Yeah,
fuck me.
exactly. And that's
I just go to the Philippines, and because I'm
yeah.
white, girls just want to fuck me. It's like
That's
that's
what I
my
was getting at. It's because like that's where they think they're gonna like you said they're gonna get out of their country and say, you know what, I'm tired of these women. Everybody else is the problem except for me. So they're gonna go somewhere else. And there might be like you go to the Philippines, you go to maybe Thailand. I don't know. I've never been to these Asian countries. Maybe Japan, and you're gonna get I think a more feminine woman that's more submissive if that's what you want. But if you're the same kind of person that's run into issues here and you have that victim mentality of like, oh, it's everybody else's the issue except for me, it's a women here. Like you said, you maybe you have to like choose a bit more carefully here, because sometimes you will run into that if you don't want that feminist sort of masculine. I don't know. I don't really
There
quite
is
explain.
I mean, there is something to it. Like
Mhm,
if you're a white guy and you're going to Tokyo, like
Hmm.
you are going to stand out. You are kind of a rarity.
Hmm.
So you do have a little bit of pre-selection.
Hmm.
If you have no social skills and you're still weird and
Hmm.
you don't have any like masculine like that's still going to be a downfall. It's not just free pussy because you're a white guy in these countries.
Yeah.
I mean, it won't hurt you. It'd probably help you a little bit. Like, oh, okay, like
Hmm.
because I'm attracted to Latino women. Maybe they're more attracted to white men. So like
Hmm.
being in Buenos Aires, maybe that'll help me. But if
Yeah.
I'm still if I'm still the needy guy that I used to be, the
Hmm.
overweight, not working on himself, no goals, no ambitions, like just
Hmm.
much a loser. Like hot girls are not going to want to be with that guy, even if I'm in a country where they like
Hmm.
white men. You know?
Yeah, and you have to think that it's, and again, the other thing that I did notice about Barcelona, where I felt it was way more easy to get a date, at least on the apps, and that people were a lot more receptive to being approached on the street, and I just felt it was so open that way. But I also did feel that, just as I mentioned in my other comment, that they had certain standards, and I did see that where, like, as a guy, you're supposed to have your shit together, very much so. Way
Do you
more
think
than the West.
they have so many options? Like Barcelona is a big city, a lot of foot
Mhm.
traffic. Girls can get dates, so they probably know what they want. They've probably been on enough
Well,
shitty dates. So like, I don't want to date fucking losers like this. If I'm gonna go out, I
mhm.
want these kind of standards. Is
Well,
that
it's
something?
very international, so that's what I'm saying. Like, you don't know what a country is like until you go there, and a lot of big cities are westernized. A lot of big cities, they all have Instagram. They all know what money is. You're not going to find some like innocent girl that's like, maybe you will. Like, I think sometimes in Colombia, I ran into a couple of Colombians, and Latinas is very very similar to this. Some of them are very reserved. They have values. They're religious, and if as a guy, that's like one of the things you're looking for is the values that they have. And it's like, to
Yeah.
me, that's like one of the main things that draws me to them. But at the same time, in the conversations that I was having, it will make you feel like you're not a Dubai prince. You're not a, part of the Moroccan royal family. You're not going to do well. Like, you kind of have that feeling a little bit where it's like,
Is that coming from only the apps though, or did you do some cold approach? I feel like you can
um,
minimize
I
a lot of
felt
that.
it was, yeah, you can pick and choose. I felt it was the same. I think more so in the apps because they like you said, they probably were going on a lot more dates.
I mean, the apps,
So,
girls are filtering you. Like you're not choosing them; they're choosing
mhm,
you. So they get to set their
yeah.
standards. Whereas on like cold approach, if they see like, oh yeah, he's a cool
Mhm.
guy. I mean,
But the thing
say,
is I had the luck on the apps. So I had way more luck on the apps than I did cold approach. I didn't even have to do cold approach over there. I still tried it a bit, but that's where I'm saying it's like
well, yeah. I mean,
run
if
into
you're
the
only
same
specifically
conversation.
doing apps, then
But I don't even mind that. That's the thing. But I just like, I don't mind the expectation part of it. I think I went over that a couple of times in the last couple of episodes. I don't mind it. I think it's good because I want the exact same thing as what they did. But you're just, and I want, that's the only point of caution that I would say, especially if you travel for that reason. If you're a guy that's like post breakup, and even if you are working on yourself, and you travel to Barcelona, you travel to France, you travel to any of these like affluent countries, you may be shocked with like how much easier you probably had it in your hometown, where it's like you will be held to a much higher standard the bigger city you go to. Like, if you go to, like, I would even go to, like, say Thailand, Bangkok or something like that, wherever men usually go, these passport bros, like, they will hold you to a high standard still. It's not like they're just saying, "Oh, this Western guy, he deserves, all these things," without you actually holding your end of the bargain. Like, it's just, if you do that for dating purposes, I believe you will be very surprised. And that's why I would say, like, I just don't think it works. I think you just need to do that personally. And if you go over there and something happens, you learn the culture, you just love it there, then you can meet somebody. But going over there with intentions, you might, I mean, maybe not, but you might be surprised. And I would endorse it 100%. That's not me. That's not a non-endorsement. I would endorse it 100%. Experience it, but don't be surprised if you're being compared to, the guy on the yacht next door.
yeah, I think you go to these places not to get easy pussy. You go there to figure out if you like the culture, figure out if you like the women. Use that time to build yourself up as a man to try
Mm-hmm.
to attract these women.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you don't
Yeah.
just show up and then girls are just immediately
Mm-hmm.
interested. Like I just show up to Barcelona. My dating profile still looks like trash, but because I'm
Mhm.
white, like girls are just gonna like, okay, sure, good luck
Yeah,
with that.
that's the
I
entitlement
went,
that we hate in
yeah,
women, right?
people think they can just go to Colombia, like, oh,
Hmm.
Colombia, they like my kind of people. Oh, well, my dating profile sucks, and I can't really have conversations with anybody. I'm not a good
Hmm.
listener. Like, okay, well, good
Yeah,
luck.
you may have an edge, but the edge that you think you have will get overwritten immediately if you're out of shape, if you're don't hold yourself well. Like
Unless you
that's
want to use, I mean, I mean, you can't, if you want to use money as your way to do that, like, that's possible. Like, a lot of these girls would be happy just, okay, yeah, he's got money. He'll take care of me.
yeah,
You can use money game.
yeah. But to go back to Barcelona, it truly is the city of love. I think there it's like just the romantic feel of
Oh,
all
yeah.
the restaurants you get into, and I'd say it's second to Paris in that respect for me. But it's a bit more of a fun atmosphere than Paris is. Obviously, being a beach city, there's a lot to do, and everybody loves a pizza. Going over to
I
these
just love how
places.
easy it was to walk around too. It's like, because it's easy to have dates. Oh, let's just go to the fountain. Let's go check out Sagrada Familia. Let's go
Mhm.
here. Let's go there. So
Yeah,
I thought that was great about it.
yeah. It's such an amazing experience. But again, like I go back to the, I guess the title of the, and I want to hear from our listeners too. For those of you who are following the show now, is what's been your experience traveling as a way to improve yourself, and that's all you need to do. It's you can't travel just to go date. I think that's and if I can sum up my feelings on that matter is just you cannot travel just for the purpose of dating. I think you can
Yeah.
have fun when you're over to a certain place. You can pick and choose based on the women you like. But if you're an Asian women, go at it, go over to Asia and put yourself around them. But it's like again, don't have the entitlement of getting off the plane and immediately having 4 or 5 women run up to you and give you attention. It just doesn't work like that. You have to improve yourself. And I think traveling as an experience, and I think you've kind of done that as well, Johnny, is like, how do you think outside of dating and outside of anything that we talked about up to this point with cold approaches and stuff like that, how do you think that it's improved you as a man, learning new cultures, getting out and traveling?
So like I mentioned, I got married at 22,
Mm-hmm.
married for 12 years, didn't travel really anywhere. I think the farthest we went to was to Alaska to visit my brother. So it wasn't like me and my ex traveled at all.
Mm-hmm.
And once we got divorced, we're in small town Wisconsin. So I knew, well, one of the first things I did was me and my buddy traveled to London because
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to kind of just get back her a little bit like, oh, well, you didn't want me, I'm going to go travel. And then that's really when it opened my eyes to like
Mm-hmm.
different cultures, meeting different people, seeing what was out there.
Yeah.
And so that kind of just opened my eyes into how much I was missing.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got back, I moved to Boston. So I highly recommend anybody who's going through a divorce, like if you haven't never moved out of your hometown, whatever city that's in,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely do that. Because what I found was like when I moved to Boston, I had to make new friends. I had to grow as a person. If I wanted to build a social circle, I
Mm-hmm.
had to do something different. Whereas when I was living in, say, Minneapolis,
Mm-hmm.
Minneapolis is a very I wouldn't say small town, but it's got that small town feel where everybody grew up together. They got
Mm-hmm.
all their friends. It's very clicky. So these people have never had to go off on their own with nobody they know, build a
Mm-hmm.
whole new social circle, learn something new about the city, go figure shit out on their own. So when I moved from small town Wisconsin, very sheltered, and then I moved to Boston, not knowing anybody,
Mm-hmm.
just like, all right, I'm gonna figure this out. And then I was able to practice my social skills, started being able to figure out my dating life a little bit. I met a
Mm-hmm.
friend and we decided to move to Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
And so I moved to Vegas, a whole new city that I didn't know anybody in besides some family, but I didn't have any friends there. So the more I would travel, the more I'm starting to see like, okay, not only am I capable of doing this, like it's not that big of a deal. Oh shit, I
Mm-hmm.
just stuff and move. Okay, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I know a lot of people will say, yeah, it's not that easy for me to do that. I have a job here. Well, I mean, people are working in Vegas. Like there are new positions you could get if you really wanted to.
Yeah.
So more to that. So like moved to Vegas, did that. And then because I've done that, it's so much easier for me to move around.
Hmm.
It's like, okay, well, I want to go. It's COVID happening. I'm just gonna go move to Texas, I guess. Why not?
Hmm.
Like, I'm not afraid to go travel on my own.
Hmm.
And then when I started going international, my first trip was to Colombia,
Hmm.
and you get there very quickly. It's a much different culture. I'm seeing like rats in the street. I'm seeing shit that I never expected.
Hmm.
Speaking a language that I don't know,
Hmm.
and you just deal with it. You're like, okay, well, I'll figure this out. I figured that out, and then that's not a big deal. I went with some friends there, so
Hmm.
it wasn't such a big culture shock. Like I had other people to communicate with,
Hmm.
but then I took the next step of like going to Guatemala by myself, and I don't have
Hmm.
cell service, and I don't have Uber downloaded, and I can't speak the language to get a taxi, so I have to figure it out on the fly. Well, Google Maps works. It's a 3 mile walk. I guess I'm
Hmm.
just walking through a country I don't know, and you just
Yeah.
figure that shit. Like it just builds you up as a person. It makes you know that you can handle shit that comes up. Like
Yeah.
you're from, say, Montreal. Like how often you having to just go to a new area you don't know to talk to a different
Hmm.
language you don't understand. But
Yeah.
you go to just Guatemala, you go to Colombia, you go to Barcelona, you don't know anybody. It's like, okay, well, I
Hmm.
will figure this out.
Yeah. And you better, I mean, that's like trial by fire, right? Like,
Yeah, what choice
um,
do you have? I have to figure this shit out. I went to
yeah.
jail in Mexico. I didn't know anybody. It was terrifying. I get
Oh,
out.
you're muted
Thing
again
keeps
there.
popping
There you
up, like asking if I want to use this mic, and then it mutes me randomly. Yeah, like I said, well, I got arrested in Mexico.
go. Hmm.
I handled that, so it's like everyone's telling me don't go to Guatemala. It's on the do not travel list. It's like, well, I
Hmm.
just went to jail in a fucking foreign country, and no one knew I was there. So I'm just gonna go to Guatemala City and see what happens.
Yeah.
Go there, it's beautiful. I love it. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Once you've been and done these things, it is like, I think with what you said, I think I resonate with a couple of the things you mentioned. I think, the empowerment for sure. And that's why I would say for any man or anybody, but any guy that's listening to this, you do it as early as you can. And a lot of people do the gap year where they
100%.
do the high school and then they travel for the first year. I would say that's such an important thing. I wish I did it. I didn't
It
travel until I went to university.
it muted me again, but it
There you
gives you so many interesting stories to tell. Like,
go. Mhm. Yeah, and that's the second.
I'm on dates in Minneapolis, and then she's like, "Oh yeah, I went to Spain," and you just random like, "Oh yeah, I remember when I was in Spain, this happened." Like you're not trying to brag, but it just naturally comes up. Like, "Oh yeah, that reminds me of this time I was there and this happened."
Yeah, I couldn't tell you. We talk with a lot of people, my friend and I, at the bars and stuff like that in Barcelona. I couldn't tell you even the date that I went on when I was over there, the how different it is. The people are so well traveled because they can get on a plane for
Yeah,
$30, and they know like the average person over there knows like in Western Europe, even Eastern Europe, they know 3 or 4 languages. They've been to probably like 30, 40 countries. Um, they travel around. So if you're planning on staying in a small town, meeting a small town girl that doesn't travel, great. You guys will have a ton in common if you don't want to travel. But if you want to pick it up and be with somebody who's adventurous and who likes the same things as you, especially if you love getting out there. Um, if you're looking at meeting a girl, say in Europe or pretty much anywhere other than North America, really, because it's so easy to travel everywhere else. Um,
well, in the
it-
U.S. too, you travel like the amount of times it takes for someone to get to France and Germany is as long as it takes to get from
yeah, it's
Minnesota to Wisconsin or
yeah,
some shit.
and I don't even blame them. It's just it is tough. Like it is a 9 hour. It's a huge commitment to do it, and obviously our money, like Canadian dollar, gets chopped in half almost when you're going over to Europe. So I don't blame people at all for not traveling. But if you can get out there, if you
You can
can take,
travel pretty cheap though. Like you just get a round trip flight, stay in a hostel. Like you don't
sure,
have to go live it up. Go explore these places.
yeah, that's a good point. I mean, yeah, just especially if you're young, if you can do that, get a working visa. If you're in Canada, if you're in the States, I think you can get a working visa to go work there for a couple of years. I did that when I was
Is
in
that,
university.
yeah, that's a good idea. I think they
Mhm.
said like 60 or some percent. It's a pretty high percentage of Americans don't even have a passport.
Yeah,
They don't even
it's such a
contemplate
shame.
leaving the country.
It really is such a shame, and I think whether you live, and that's another good point too. It's we're not just talking about traveling for 2 weeks. Like if you want to, you know if you have the ability, especially now with us, a lot of us were working remotely, and I was down in Playa del Carmen. That's where you and I met up and first did that conversation at my hotel or my residence. But I was working remotely. It wasn't favorable because I couldn't take any phone calls down there. But I was only down there for a little over, I think it was 19 days that I was there. I just made it work. I had to come back because I couldn't make it work for a month, but I still did what I could do,
Yeah.
because it was a
Go for
priority.
a week. I don't care. Yeah.
There's always a
Get out.
reason to not do it. And if you work remotely, if you are tied to your desk and you have this wanderlust of like, I want to get out, maybe get another job. Like it just, you have to figure out
Yeah.
what's important. And being tied to your desk, the job is not ever going to pay you enough to live. It's not going to pay you enough to retire
You can't,
nowadays.
yeah, you can't buy these experiences. Like we were, when I was married, it was always, oh, it's too expensive to travel. And then we never did.
Hmm.
And so like we didn't grow as people, relationship didn't grow. I feel like if you're in a relationship, you grow with these experiences.
Hmm.
But then when I got out of that, you just realize like, oh, round trip ticket to Europe is like $800 at
Hmm.
most. Staying hot. So it's like I spent more on video games and going out
Hmm.
to eat. It is like
Yeah.
just priorities. And yeah, it is 2025. There's a lot of ways to make money online or go remote or I mean figure out what you want to do.
Hmm.
My goal is to stay remote now. Like I want to go live in Buenos Aires for a couple months or
Hmm.
check out different places.
Yeah. Yeah, it's. I mean, I would say. I mean, if you're constantly moving around and the way that you're obviously being very intentional when you're dating. And I was kind of curious, like if you're bouncing around, do you think that that hurts you? And what if you did meet somebody? How would that affect your travel plans? Like, would you incorporate that into your life? Would that be a
Yeah,
mandatory
I
thing for
think that's one of the downfalls of the passport bros is like if you meet somebody, what do you do then? Like that's I
your? Mhm.
don't know what's
Well, at
going on
least
with
you're
this.
noticing it right away.
Yeah. But that yeah, that is a downfall. I think that's why I'm still semi single. I mean,
Hmm.
I am single, but like I've met girls. I don't know that they were ever like long term options.
Hmm.
Some were, but like they had to go back to Europe or whatever. So
Hmm.
there is that downfall, but there's also like I want to try out new places. I want to see if I want to maybe live in these places for long term.
Hmm.
And then if you do find a girl that you meet, you figure out how to make it work. Like maybe
Hmm.
you have her come meet you in Mexico, or I don't. I mean, I haven't gotten there yet. I do want to date with intention long term,
Hmm.
but I also don't want to just settle with a girl just because I'm stuck in a place. Like I don't
Hmm.
want to just stay in Mexico because I'm waiting to maybe find that one girl.
Yeah.
Maybe I do, and then I do stay, but
Yeah, but going out and doing that, I think for me, anyways, and I, the more I go to Europe, the more I'm a big Europe guy. I've been
yeah, dude, I love
to
you.
Mexico, obviously a bunch of times. My ex was from there, so we went down there quite often. I went to Brazil, visited an ex as well. I went to Peru for a wedding, but other than that, it's always been Europe when I've traveled, and because I just love the culture over there, and that's kind of think what has added a lot of value for me is learning history. I really appreciate ancient history. I appreciate the architecture. I appreciate the language. I appreciate the people, just how they live their lives. It's so much different, especially if we're talking about the Western culture. And I came back to the shooting of Charlie Kirk, and I came back to just not that they don't have their problems over there. Of course, every country has their problems. They had, the protests in Spain when I was there last time, the Catalonians versus I don't know the history. I don't want to butcher it, but there's always an unrest of some sort. And I know that the political the issues are you name it. There's political issues everywhere now, unfortunately. But I just feel like if you're around the same environment, you just fill your head with like, okay, this is just how the world is. You have this, this mentality of, okay, it's just political, it's just about money, it's about AI, it's about boom, boom, boom. It's like, man, I just want to get out of this for a second. The second you leave, you can go find yourself in a country where people enjoy art, where people enjoy culture, they're family oriented, they're sitting on the patio in Paris enjoying, they don't have the phones in their faces. They're just, maybe they're having a cigarette, but that phone is probably even worse for you than these days because you're cranking your neck over and you're sitting down. But they're on the patio, maybe reading a newspaper, enjoying lunch with a friend. Like this is how people used to live, And I think we've lost so much of ourselves in the West Coast, or the West, I would say the West Coast, in the West, where it's just, you can bury yourself in it and it makes people absolutely miserable unless you know that life is different elsewhere. And I think, like what you said, is like it will motivate you to maybe want to move somewhere else. And I would say Barcelona did that 100% to me. And I've always been back and forth. I've always wanted to live in, say, Positano or Mallorca. That would be the dream, right? But I think the more you go over there and you more say, you know what, I'm done with the Western culture the way that it is now, the way
Yeah.
that we vote, like we voted in governments that, I'm talking in Canada, and maybe you can have your opinion on the States, but we voted in governments that consistently do us dirty. They consistently take the money from the people. They consistently drive living standards down. And it's just, at this point, if you're somebody that has any sort of uh, any sort of ambition, you're being pushed to the ground. And I feel like that's when I come back, I am so upset that I got to come back to a country that's completely lost itself. And that's like a passionate thing that I'm like, I did not want to get off the plane. I'm like, this is not working for me anymore. The more you see how the Western or the rest of the world lives and how happy
Yeah.
people generally are without all this bullshit about AI taking everybody's job, is about politics, people getting shot for their political views. Like, it's just a bunch of absolute trash.
Yeah, I mean, now that I'm in Mexico, I've really no desire to ever come back to the US
Mm-hmm.
as it is right now. Like homeless
Mm-hmm.
people, everything's locked up behind plastic because people can just steal stuff.
Yeah, it's
Uh,
insane. It's so much different. And like, you can say that Europe is dangerous, and I completely agree with that. If you go to the wrong places, anywhere is dangerous. But it just feels different. Like they don't steal over there because they're psychopaths. They steal because they are poverty. I don't know if that's even better, but like I feel like we're over here is just, they're nonstop drugs. It's just, they're absolutely insane, or even they're just completely sane, but they have such extreme views that they, will shoot somebody for nothing. And it's like, okay, when you're in Europe, that there's bad spots, but it's just, I don't know. Maybe I'm just new to it. Maybe it's the same over there. I don't know. Maybe people in the comments can tell me if I'm completely wrong on this. But I'm just so done with the Western culture because I think it's had, there's, I don't know when it peaked, but probably not in my lifetime.
yeah, I mean, I also like Europe too because it's
Mm.
cities you can walk in. There's history. U.S. only has like New York's is really just a walking city, but
Mm.
New York is overpriced and like for what you pay, you're not like that's not worth the money to me.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
also
Last time I was in Paris, I put 30,000 steps on my step counter on my phone.
just
Just walked around the entire city. It was such a walkable place.
the problem with Europe is you can only go for 3 months and then you got to leave. I don't know how to get around that visa yet.
Yeah, and yeah, I guess that's the full EU. I know Italy was different. It was even less than that, but yeah,
Yeah, so
EU's.
yeah, I want to go to Warsaw, Poland. I want to go to Copenhagen. I want to go like there's a bunch I want to explore.
Yeah, but there's always options. I think if you're a younger guy, say you're in your late mid 30s, I think it's 35 that is the cutoff for the working visas. So they have like temporary worker visas where you can get a work visa for like 2 years. I was on one in Wales when I was there, which I could have gotten that for any country being a Canadian. We were in the Commonwealth, so I could have got that for the UK, for Australia, for any of the countries in the Commonwealth, New Zealand, I think. Um, and I think there's one other one, but I chose the UK. So that gave me 2 years of basically being able to work while I was doing school or work part time in a bar or something like that. And that's all you need if you're just traveling around. You work part time in a bar, and again, stay in a hostel, stay in a cheaper place, but like use that as a way to experience the culture. Maybe you learn the language. Maybe you can actually parlay that into an actual job offer. But like, there's always options. There's probably more options than ever in certain countries for foreigners to go over and work, especially if you're a tech person. Like, I knew a guy that got a job down in New York from Canada. Um, didn't have a visa, just got hired on, and now he's got his passport. So there's always options to do it if you really want to, and I think it all goes back to your priorities. Like, everybody wants to travel, but not everybody wants to give up certain things in their life, or not everybody wants to make the jump of working for
I
themselves.
mean, yeah, I mean, also, yeah, you don't have to go live.
Mhm.
Yeah, muted me again. But yeah, you don't have to go live in these places. Just go travel, check this thing out.
Yeah. Do short term too, right? I do
Yeah.
the way that I do it. I've been fortunate that last month I was in Paris. Um, last month I was in Paris, and this time in Barcelona, I was staying with a good friend of mine that had a place there. Actually, in Paris, I didn't stay with him. Um, but if you have friends that go over that are there, take advantage of it. Go travel with a buddy. I think that's such a great thing to do. Um, and
Even
actually,
if you don't,
Belgium. Have you been to Belgium?
no.
That was one of my it sticks out as like one of my favorite spots. Bruges is an amazing spot to go to if they're during the winter. We met some Eastern Euro women there in a bar in Belgium, and it turned into a couple of days of us hanging out. But again, like that almost like brighten my if you're dealing with women that are constantly disappointing you. Sometimes you go to parts of the world and you will meet women that are like, okay, this brings my faith back that there are intentional women that are feminine, that are like just sweet and kind, that are looking for like a romantic guy, right? Um, so that. Yeah, that was a big experience to me. And we stay in touch, and I think a lot of these women that I met over in Barcelona. That's why Instagram is so good. Is that next time over there, I'll just give them a message. We'll go for a drink. Like it's just it enables you to connect with so many different people. And I think that's such a huge part of it. But yeah, like now that I'm jogging back at all the memories where I've met different people, it was just yeah, it's such a memorable part of of what I've done. They're memories that you'll keep for life.
I mean, traveling is also going to help you with the girls in the city you're at. If
Hmm.
you can go say like, oh yeah, I traveled Europe, I did all these things, and you're talking about
Yeah,
that on a date, you're going to stand
yeah,
out way more than the American guy who doesn't even have a passport.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, it gives you so many things to talk about. Like if you have culture, that's what these women want. Like again, going back to you're going out in your city. If I go to a date in Vancouver, I'm talking about the time I saw Picasso in the Orsay, or what's that saying? I actually listened to the saying, and I think it's notable uh, because of what we're talking about. So, oh, it was a movie with Matt Damon. Do you know the movie where he plays uh, a very smart guy? It's the do you know what I'm talking about? Which movie that is?
Goodwill Hunting.
Maybe it was Good Will Hunting. Yeah.
I saw
So
that movie.
yeah, Good Will Hunting I think is correct. So he plays a genius, and he's the smartest guy in the school. But his teacher that becomes his mentor is like, he may know all this stuff. He may have all the book smarts in the world. He may be a genius, but he doesn't know what it smells like inside the Sistine Chapel. So like that one really hit me because it's like, yeah, all these, and maybe for not the same reasons, but you can have all these like all the money in the world. You can have all the things you want, all material things, but if you don't have the experiences, you can never buy those things. You can't buy,
Yeah,
if you don't have it, obviously you can buy for the plane ticket, you can buy the ticket into the place, but like all these things are so much different than just like reading about them or looking at them online. It's like you don't know what it is to walk into the Vatican, or to get off in the wrong stop in Spain or in France, or like all these different things. It's going to make you a way different person, whether it's for
yeah, just
dating, whether it's for
figuring
work.
out where to go through the city, like just walking through the city, trying to figure out where you're going, and just
Yeah,
getting lost. Going for a morning run through Barcelona, just like yeah, just
yeah,
pick a direction, just go
yeah,
wherever.
yeah. Like get lost, go to the beach, work out outside in the outside gyms, right?
Yeah, I don't
It's
know how many times I found just random cool sites in Barcelona. It's like, oh, just go for a run in the morning, and it's like, oh,
yeah,
there's a cool church I never saw. There's the beach. There's the pier. Oh, there's some
yeah,
mountains up there. Okay, shit.
yeah. Like putter around. Like in Paris, I was like that day that I went for a walk. It was 30,000 steps. I walked up to the. I was on a mission to find the Paris Ritz, just because I wanted to go and have a drink at the bar. So like I was walking around, and it's in a very very nice part of the city. But this is at the end of my day. I had already walked up to the Sacre Coeur, saw that. I walked down to the Eiffel Tower, saw that. I walked all around Saint Germain, and then I was like, okay, I want to go see the Paris Ritz, and it's behind the Louvre. So I ended up stopping at my favorite spot, my favorite uh, restaurant by the Louvre, which is Cafe Marley, by the way. If you've ever been to the Louvre, it's the one that's overlooking the little triangle. the entrance. Beautiful spot. I would recommend anybody that goes there. And then I went to the Ritz only to find out that the place was full. But it was just like a cool experience because I had no idea where I was going, and I ended up seeing a ton of these different spots, these different neighborhoods that I never would have explored. Um, so like yeah, without getting out there and doing it, and I'm we're obviously gushing about the places that we love, but you can go anywhere if you don't like France. Go anywhere. I mean, just don't go to the American or the Canadian, the Western spots, because I think it's so easy, especially in Mexico, to like leave your country and then not leave your country. You know, like
Yeah, the joke here is that Americans with passport, they go to Cancun to say they left the country, which is
yeah,
basically just a resort. You're basically
mhm,
in the US, like all the luxuries.
yeah, like they're you're paying probably more for the same thing that you can get when you're there, and it's like why don't you just experience something different? You know,
Yeah.
like go outside of your comfort zone, like figure out like explore a new culture. And they're people give French people a hard time because they're they won't speak English. I've never had that experience. Sometimes they do, and they give you a bit of a look, but you have to understand that they're not. It's way different in the West, where if you don't have a tolerance for people changing your culture, and I really believe that in Canada, it's in Montreal, and they're very protective of their French language. Not so much anymore, like in the actual Montreal city, but if you go outside of the city of Montreal, they will give you a hard time for not speaking French. And I actually like that because why would you expect someone to, you know, adjust? Like if people were traveling from Paris to the US and they were like, oh, why don't you speak French? You're in the States,
Yeah,
you
you're
know?
in America.
So like it's the same thing, but we have that mentality of like everybody should change except for us. And I think if you drop that and you're saying, you know what, I'm gonna go over there. Hopefully there are people that are being hospitable to me if you don't know the language. But if they are saying, hey, why would you just randomly ask me for the time in English? This is like this is Paris. We don't speak English. So if they get upset with you, it's well within their right. And I think that's why people stay away from this because they don't want to have to deal with any hardship. They just everything should be at my fingertips, or anything should be exactly the way that I have it at home. You know, it's just it's that mentality. I think a lot of people need to change.
I also think it's fun to go to different cultures and like even though I don't speak the language in Guatemala or parts of Mexico, like I can still make people smile.
Hmm.
This mic is getting annoying. But yeah, you can still make them smile. You can still give them a good time. You can still give them value. Like it just shows that you don't need to speak the language to have a
Yeah.
good time. This girl I'm going on a date with does not
Mhm.
speak English, but we still have a good time. Still a lot of sub communication. You can still
Yeah.
use the
And
translator.
for anybody, I know all of our viewers probably come from Johnny's other channel, but if you found this podcast and you're not following Johnny's other channel, do it for any other for no other reason but finding out how that date goes, because I want to get that feedback on the next podcast. I think we'll talk about maybe some pointers on dating a girl where you don't speak the language, but I want to
I
hear
mean,
the
I can
feedback.
tell you how it happened. I approached her on the street. She's
Does she know
very,
you're going for a date? Is that clear?
yeah, I approached her. She didn't speak any English, but she could tell because I stopped her that I was not hiding my intention. Like I didn't
Yeah.
stop her to sell or anything. I stopped her. I said she looked very cute, made strong eye contact, smiled, and she just lit up. And then she kind of got the understanding. We exchanged numbers pretty quick, and
Okay.
then I got her out Sunday night. But like immediately it was, oh, I'm glad that you stopped me. And then I asked her on the date, she's like, what did you like about me? And she's like, well, that you showed your intentions. You stopped me on the street. Typically, guys do not do
Mhm.
that.
But how are you guys talking? If she didn't, does she not know English at all, or does she have some words?
We used the app a little bit. Like my approach on the street was not very long. It was,
Hmm.
I think she knew. My Spanish is not great, but I do understand a little bit too.
Hmm.
So I was like,
Enough to get
okay,
by.
muy lindas, you're very cute.
Hmm.
But we exchanged numbers pretty quick. I tried to stay in and I just started talking English so that she was like focused on me.
Hmm.
And then we switched numbers. And then, once it's on WhatsApp, you can kind of send whatever.
Yeah.
So then we met up, went out on a date Sunday for smoothies.
Oh, you've already taken her out. Okay, this is the
Yeah, I
second
took
date.
her out Sunday. So yeah, this is the second date. So first
Okay.
date went well. Um, yeah, had smoothies, and then we went and got food after that. Like I don't mind going out for food after you guys have, like after I've known that I like the person and that we're
Yeah,
vibing.
especially if you're hungry, why not?
Yeah, she's gonna come over. We're gonna go get something to eat, and then she's gonna show me how to make mate. I don't know. That's
Sorry,
what
I thought you
everyone
said
from
latte.
Argentina.
You said mate?
Yeah, that's what everyone from Argentina drinks. It's like
Mate.
a yeah, it's like a replacement for coffee, I guess. Like they
Huh. Oh, is it
Argentinians obsessed with the
matcha
oil stuff.
latte?
Yeah, is that what it is?
Maybe it's matcha because I know a lot of matcha comes from Brazil. No, it's not. I know it's not the
Yeah,
same country
mate
as Argentina, but I think there's a
right
lot
in a
of
little
matcha.
cup with the straw. So yeah, we'll see.
Huh. Well, that's promising. I mean, if you can do that, but where else would you have gotten that experience, right? You're cooking a drink that
Yeah,
you're having that.
I was gonna meet this girl in Minneapolis probably. I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
I mean that's the benefit of cold approach. Like you can meet those people in the U.S. though. I've
Mhm.
met like I would never assume that there's Polish or Russian girls or Colombians in Minneapolis, but when I
Mhm.
do cold approach, I meet them.
Yeah,
Like so, just because you're in the U.S. doesn't mean you're not going to find your type of women.
yeah,
But traveling, you're gonna get experience much faster and really
yeah,
narrow down the kind of women you even want to date. Like the
yeah.
reason I knew I liked Ukrainian and Russian and Argentina women was because I went to Barcelona and I dated some Russian and Ukrainian
Mhm.
girls. And then I went to Mexico and I dated some Argentinians and Ukrainians and Russian girls. And then I
Mhm.
went to Guatemala and I had experience with Latina girls there. So
Mhm. Yeah, that's such a good way of exploring just to kind of see what the cultures are like and even the atmosphere. And I think one thing if we want to get to the wrap up portion where we're kind of giving a bit of advice on those of you who are listeners that want to travel for the purpose of becoming a better person, which is I guess that's for me that's the biggest part. If you want to travel for the purpose of meeting somebody, it's all the same. I mean, I would just say there's many different ways to do it. There's, you can travel for the purpose of living in a country. I would say if you're doing that as a way to get into the culture, that's the biggest recommendation I can give somebody, especially if they're young and they're able to do it. Get into a culture. You can never go wrong. You can always leave. You can always come back. If you're doing it as a way to get away from something, I would say the only thing I would say to that is that, no matter where you go, you're always going to be there. So if you're the problem, it doesn't matter if you go to the moon, you're still going to be the same person and you're still going to have the same problems. Personally or with women, whatever it is, you're still going to have the same problems unless you do the work. Some people find it easy, and that's kind of where I went to Montreal. After a breakup, I went to Montreal to sort of explore myself outside of the city that I was so accustomed to, and that helped me grow a lot. I would say, just personally being able to just live in a different city where I don't know anybody, say yes to a lot more things that I would have said no to. Go to a lot of business networking events, meet a lot of different people, go on dates where I don't know anybody. Like you can explore yourself differently. You can kind of make up your own little persona if you want to view it that way. And I think that's another valuable part of traveling is that to your point, if you are not a cold approach person, like for me, I would never do. I'm going to try to start actually. That's a promise I'll make. But if you're not traditionally somebody who would be open to that in your own city, if you're going to a new country, you can sort of invent a different persona. You can say, maybe here I am the guy that goes up to these women, and if they say no, then I don't live here. They'll never see me again. Because part of that is like you don't want to do it in the city that you're from because you're afraid of like first the rejection, but the second of all, it's like, oh man, I'm going to see that same person in the grocery store the next day, and they're like, oh, that's the guy who came up to me, haha. They like laugh at them. uh, that's
I
kind of
mean,
what.
it is intimidating when you're in another country and they don't speak the language though, and you're like, oh
Well,
fuck.
if yeah, the language, that's another thing. But sometimes they do, especially in places like Barcelona, I would say, or maybe on Fifth Avenue, in Playa del Carmen. I think you have a lot of chance to bump into somebody who has a bit of English, especially if you're an English speaker. I mean, most people nowadays will understand a little bit. If they don't, then there's always ways. But that's just the fun thing is like you can say, well, you know what, it doesn't matter because I'm not from here. I'll still try to be as nice as I possibly can. I'm not going to be obnoxious, but like just give it your best shot. And if you don't, if they get rejected or whatever, then you're not going to be there for very long. So it's not going to, if that's what you need to get over that hump, then use that as a way to motivate you.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, to conclude that part of it is just like wherever you go, you're always going to be the same. So use it as a way to get better, get more cultured, learn a language, view the world. There's a lot of beautiful stuff out there. You will not view your city the same. You may still want your city, you may still miss it, but you will never view your culture, your city the same ever if you're traveling. So use it as a way to get better as a man. Maybe you'll meet somebody, maybe you won't, but you'll always be better for it.
Yeah, for sure. I guess I would just say I know for me, traveling changed my life. Like I said, when I was divorced, it was small town Wisconsin. So moving out of there forced me to build new social circles, remote. Yeah, really started building me up. And then when I started traveling internationally, I started to meet the kind of women that I wanted to date. And then I
Mm-hmm.
started getting more dating experiences. And then when I go to places like Minneapolis and I see these people going out to bars or restaurants, they have their big friend groups that they've known since high school for the longest time. I think a lot of people are in that situation where they've grown up with these people, they know everything. So then they are not getting the dating lives they want because if they're not getting connected with these people, they don't know how to go about doing it in other places.
Mm-hmm.
So just being able to travel not only brings me some experience. So when I'm in Minneapolis and I'm going on dates, I'm
Mm-hmm.
actually providing value. I'm giving them a good time. It's not just we're just talking about like if I
Mm-hmm.
had never traveled and I'm in Minneapolis, what am I going to talk about on a date for 3 hours with somebody who's
Yeah.
also from Minneapolis? Like, oh,
Mhm. And you never know, like it gives you so many more things to have in common. Like I think you touched on that where, if you none of you have experiences, if they don't have an experience, you can bring it up and they can say, "Oh, great, I want to hear about your experience in this country because I've never been there. I want to go there." Everybody wants to travel. That's the thing. You're never going to say, "Oh, I don't want to hear about your trip to Paris. I don't want to hear
yeah,
about
there's
your."
never been a woman who's like, I don't like to travel. Plus,
Yeah.
also, it's not like you like I never actually tell them anything. Like, oh yeah, I've been to Spain. It's like they say something and then it's like, oh, that reminds me of this, and
Hmm.
then you just like, oh shit, yeah, it actually did remind me of
Yeah.
my time here.
Yeah. So many references. You go with somebody who likes art. Oh yeah, have you ever been in the Orsay in Paris before? That's one of the sneaky
Yeah,
good museums in the world.
I
These
just
all
think
these references.
traveling. I would say I think traveling is just one of the best ways to improve your masculine essence.
Mhm.
Show you can handle situations that you would never be put in otherwise. I know for me, like being able to like approach this girl who doesn't speak any English,
Mhm.
but because I've been able to develop my presence, show my intent, she knows
Mhm.
exactly why I'm talking to her. Like I
Mhm.
don't need to speak the language. I've just envelop this through traveling, through meeting people, through
Mhm.
building up my confidence, knowing that whatever happens, I can deal with it. This she walks away and says, I don't speak English, or she says, I'm not interested. Like it
Mhm.
doesn't phase me. I've already been through other situations that are much more challenging.
Yeah. Yeah, that's actually the masculine essence is what I would say. That's if you take anything from this episode, that
Yeah,
would be
one of the
the
best ways to build
masculine
your
essence.
masculine essence.
That covers everything. That covers
I mean,
everything.
that's why we do what we do, right? Like I want to be more masculine than I mean, every day you try to work on that, but
Hmm.
compared to where I was, like
Yeah, it's
traveling
it's
should have
independence. It's that essence of, yeah, handle your business, take care of things. You have the resources to do things that you want to do, and that just the lifestyle, I think, is the most important thing you can offer somebody in a relationship. And I think travel is the biggest part of lifestyle.
being a leader in a relationship too. And if you're in these countries and you're figuring shit out for yourself, then it's not that hard to figure out like, okay, where are we going for dinner? Like I can solve that problem easy. Or I can
Mhm.
figure out what we need to do in this
Mhm.
situation if something happens. Like I've already done other more challenging situations. I was in a country where I didn't speak the language and then this happened and I've solved that problem.
Mhm.
I can easily figure out, oh, the car stalled or
Yeah,
whatever it is.
yeah, exactly. And just get like, again, I think I won't riff on this too much, but like, especially if you're going to Paris or Barcelona or some of these more romantic cities, I think a lot of the women will look at a romantic guy and they will like that part of it. Like there's the chivalry part where you're going to a wine bar, you're dressing up, you're pulling out the chair, you're having different conversations. It teaches you like a more refined way of carrying yourself. Like, you know, I just cringe when I see these people like they just wear hoodies and like this, they don't dress up, they don't have a way of speaking. They don't put attention into like maybe don't have a beer tonight, maybe have a glass of wine. Like you know, there's so many different things. I mean, fine if you want to do that. I mean, these are the people that are holding the fishes, I guess. But and that's what holding the fish tells you. But like I look at that, I'm like, how do you ever expect to find somebody that I know these people want,
I mean, they
both
don't.
in the world?
They complain on Reddit and
Yeah,
YouTube
exactly.
about dating
Yeah,
sucks.
yeah. Why can't I just get a girl that likes me for who I am? But they're not. In the same with women. Like they
Yeah.
don't. You're not complaining about that. You're complaining that you're looking for something that doesn't exist. So if you
Yeah.
want something that you haven't been getting, change yourself, and maybe you can do it. But and
Become more attractive, you'll attract better people.
Yeah. So like I think that was something that I didn't bring up before, but that's the most important thing is learning a new culture, learning maybe on the norms of dating and how men actually act that they react to.
Yeah,
Um,
women still want you to be chivalrous. You don't have to be a simp. Like holding out a woman's chair, opening the door, being on the right side of the street so they're not like near traffic. Like these are
yeah,
things that are just masculine traits. That doesn't make you a simp.
yeah,
Simping is when you're doing these things to get a result. Like, oh,
yeah.
I'm trying to bring her flowers so that I get her affection in return.
And that's such a thing. I know that term
That's
is
a whole
used.
other topic. That might be a whole new other podcast.
Yeah, but that is a thing that happens. I think I hear about it. And when I act that way, then it comes in my head like,
Where
oh my god, like making
down
the
we
thing.
go,
This is actually
oh, where down we
You're a protector, you're a leader.
go,
so
You're
it
not
is.
trying to. You're not doing it to try
where
to get a
down
pull your
we
hair out.
Yeah, or like reach out and grab your suitcase. I
oh,
think
cause say we
so many
run
things
you
you can learn
down.
from like the more romantic parts of the world that I think you can incorporate. So yeah, I would say that's the last note that I would say. But I would think if you're again any of our listeners, this is the podcast where we want to know your experience traveling. Give us your best spots, give us where you want to go, and the best learning experiences you've had.
Yeah,
We'd
let us
still love to
know
listen.
how. Yeah, give us any recommendations for places you've
Yeah,
gone. If you
absolutely.
found Pussy Paradise, let us know. I mean,
If you find it, yeah, it's like Atlantis, right?
find it, let everybody know.
People think it exists, but it doesn't. But yeah, and all of you stay tuned to hear what how Johnny's date goes on his other channel,
Yeah,
and
I'm gonna learn. Yeah, I better learn how to make mate. Gotta get off this
exactly,
coffee.
exactly. So yeah, thanks a lot for listening, and again, stay tuned. Sorry again for missing that last week. That was on me, but again, we just talked about traveling and how important it is. So I think we can hopefully forgive me on this one, and we'll be back next week, episode 4, the playbook.
Yeah, back Wednesday.